Hi. Think I'm on the right one. Yeah, I'm on the right one. How's everybody doing? Hold on, I'm just gonna fucking check if I actually get the mic on. Yeah, I do. There we go. Ah. Oh, fuck. Bunny! How you doing, Bunny? Why are people talking about penguins in chat? Ah, cheers, Toma. So yeah, evening everybody. A little bit late. Had to run downstairs and get myself a cup of fucking tea first before I actually started. Can't wait to go back to vaping. Been smoking since I got out of rehab. How you doing, Grumpy? Cheers, Henrik. So yeah, fucking hell, 9 years doing this. 9 fucking years. This is us going into the 10th year. 9 years. You know, when you say that, it's just like, what? Fuck. How are you today, Vic? Well, doing alright, Sean. Not doing brilliant, but doing alright, Sean. George, how you doing, George? Edwin. Evening, Edwin, how you doing? Vic, I have a question for you. Could you quit vaping if you have to? If I had to? Like if there was, I mean, it's not as if there even is a medical condition which would warrant the quitting of vaping. Let's say I became allergic to nicotine, right, which I don't think is ever going to happen, but let's say I started having an aversion to nicotine. If I had to quit, oh yeah, I could. Easily. I could easily quit, because I'm only down to 3mg. Well, usually I'm only down to 3mg when direct to lunging these days. HDH? No, HD8. 10 years in September for me. Oh, how you doing, Stevie? Remember your first ever vape vid? Yeah, it's still up in the channel as well. With a long hippie hair. What are you vaping on today? It's the usual setup. In fact, you know what I need to do? I need to make sure that this little fella, although the tank's fucking empty now because I've actually ran out of tobacco. That's tobacco liquid, because I haven't been to the... Pop that in there. There we go. It's the usual setups. Eclipse Dual on the G-Class V2. I've got the usual Blotto sitting on top of the SL Class V2. And usually... Hold on, I'm going to unscrew you. And then pop you on there. Usually with the VS... I'm not using it because the tank's bone dry now, but usually with the VS Dual, I've got it sitting on top of this thing, which is the Vatefly Brunhild. But a subscriber and a supporter. I think he's in Patreon as well. A subscriber sent something in. Look at that. So it's the same VS Dual, but instead of being in this fucking big huge thing, this is the Tesla. What is this? It's the Tesla Sig Stealth Mini. Look at that. That's a cracking little setup. Fucking very, very handy as well. Very handy little stealth setup as well. Fucking phenomenal, that. Because I forgot all about the Tesla Sig Stealth Mini. Because I think this was one of Tesla's last releases before they basically went belly up. But look at that. That's fucking phenomenal. So, yeah. VS Dual currently with nothing in it because I've ran out of tobacco liquid. Message me soon. I'm still very serious about the message I sent before. What message you sent before? Huh? Vic, you're looking a little Emperor Mingish if he had a really rough month. Yeah, I have actually. Gail, how you doing, Gail? Late night vape show, that must be Mick. How you doing, Mick? Yeah, thanks, William. Thanks. It's a fucking tiny little mod, though. Look at the size of it. Tiny little thing. Built for 16 or 17 millimeter diameter tanks, so it's fucking perfect for the VS Dual. Look at that. Cracking little bit of kit, that. How you doing, Zan? Got used to the new glasses yet? Yeah, the varifocals, I'm still getting used to them. Because I'm having to do that, or that, or that to try and focus shit in, but I'm starting to get used to it. Grizz, how you doing, Grizz? Yeah, the original stealth, not the mini. Shrek, I think I've got the original stealth up in the studio somewhere, buried probably. Could have done with more sugar in that tea. Any good semi-mech mods? Not recently, Sean. Whatever happened to the Steam Crave review for the single coil? You mean the Meson? Still to do it, Craig. Because I've got the Meson RTA, and I think I've got the Meson AIO as well. Do I? Or did they just send the tank? I'll need to check. I'm sure they sent the AIO as well, but I'll need to fucking check. Yes, Cicero, Rochford's new website is very spiffing. That's the word for today, people. Spiffing. Uh-huh. What milligram a night do you mainly use? It depends what kind of mood I'm in, Grumpy. Mouth to lung. Not that I'm actually doing any mouth to lung because I don't have any tobacco vapes up here right now. They're all in the studio. Mouth to lung, it depends what kind of fucking mood I'm in, but usually it's around about 9 or 12 milligram. Although I've got a couple of bottles of tobacco up at the studio that's been nicked up to 18 milligram. Freebase, of course. I don't usually vape salts. When I'm doing direct to lung, it's usually 3 or 6 milligram freebase. It's usually 6. I like my nicotine. What can I say? What can I say? Because I've got this peach custard in here nicked up to 6 milligram, and I've got the black vine. Oh, look, this tank's almost empty as well. All my tanks are fucking empty all of a sudden. But I've got a black vine nicked up to 3 milligram. That just depends what kind of mood I'm in. That's what it comes down to. Depends what kind of mood I'm in. I need a good tobacco juice here in the US. I mean an NET. There used to be a load of cracking NET companies over in the United States, but a lot of them just ain't trading now. Got my Steam Crave Aromomizer V3 yesterday running on my Goar 21. Running at 130, yeah, 130, yeah. Because the Aromamizer's like a high wattage. Any good dual RTAs in the horizon? There's a couple coming up for review. But apart from that couple that's coming up for review, I can't think of any. You got the Blaze Solo one? Yep, it's up in the studio. How you doing, Alan? Faxi, chef. How you doing, Faxi? Please don't tell us you're going into retirement, Vic. No. As in, no, I'm not going into retirement. It's not that, no, I'm not going to tell you I'm not going into retirement. But there's a couple of caveats to go with that. Depending on how things go in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, there's a couple of caveats to go with that. If you lose a sock in the dryer, it returns as a Tupperware lid that doesn't fit any containers. I need to remember that one, Cicero. That would explain why I've got so many Tupperware box lids and I don't have the actual box to match up with the fucking lid. Yeah. Yeah. How you doing, Paul? Hang on, I need to find a dictionary. Caveat. I know what caviar is. You like Shrek. So how are we doing for? Because I think everyone that's going to watch it, because I've been babbling incoherently for about quarter of an hour now. 174 watching, right? Vic, why is there such a long gap between release of kits, tanks, disposables, Roland? That's the reason. The fucking disposable market's wrecked everything else. That's the reason. Although things are starting to kind of go the opposite direction, at least from what I've seen, which I'm going to be talking about later on as well, but things are starting to go in the opposite direction. The disposable market is on the decline. There's no getting around it. It's definitely on the decline compared to what it was like at the beginning of this year. Because the beginning of this year, it was not just the beginning, the back half of last year as well. It was fucking relentless, the amount of disposables that were coming out, but things have slowed down drastically when it comes to the disposable market that we are looking at today. But that's the major reason that you're not seeing a lot of big releases happening. I mean, you've got this thing. Where the fuck is it? There we go. You've got this thing from Geek Vape, which just came out, which is the Z200 kit. Apparently, there's a couple of big dual battery box mods coming out from Smock soon. Vaper SO are going to be going down the same road with their old dual battery box mods going in to the back end of spring, beginning of summer, but it's a slow pace. It's much slower. With the external battery, dual or single battery box mod release schedules that we're looking at now, compared to what the release cycle was like in 2017 or 2018. And a lot of it is down to fucking disposables. That's what a lot of it is down to. It's not socks, it's teaspoons that disappear. I have that problem as well, Frog Prince. Keep losing teaspoons. Recently subscribed and noticed a lot of your older reviews are gone, such as the Goon RDA. Yeah, you can thank YouTube for that one, Argo. Notice there aren't as many customers asking for disposables in the shop anymore. It's the same everywhere, Bunny. My town vape shop closed a few weeks ago. We're now only... Well, they're still free here. Oh, look at us. Mr. Cat of Flapness. How you doing, Mr. Cat of Flapness? Have you done a review on the X Mini V class? What? The X Mini V class yet? Oh, you mean the Mini V? Is that even out yet? Because I've seen pictures of it, but I don't think it's been sent yet. Bet you miss your Pioneer IPv2. No, I don't. Stevie, it's right behind me. The Pioneer the IPv2, it's behind me in the cupboard. It's behind me in the cupboard. I just don't use it now. Looking forward to the new Kylan. So am I. Kylans were always a good tank. It's not teaspoons missing, it's 10 and 13 millimeters. Evening, folks. Hi, Vic. Hope you're well. Well, I'm still alive, Gaz, if that counts for doing well. Love the relaxed pace of this live. The reason it's a relaxed pace dripper is because I'm currently stoned on tramadol. Yeah, that's why it's relaxed. Stephen Hodgson, hi Vic. Actually, I gave up tobacco 2 years ago. I run 2 Guar. The Guar seems to be a very popular mod. I run 2 Guar 21s. Arr! It's taught like a pirate day, apparently. 2 Blaze RT. That's a really good tank, the Blaze RT. Thanks for your excellent vids. Not missed one yet. Cheers, Stephen. SX Mini V-Rod is out. I know, reviewed it a month ago. They haven't sent one to me, Shrek. I didn't know that. SX Mini V-Rod is already out. I thought it wasn't getting released until, what, midway through summer? Oh yeah, I'm still alive. Guys, still alive. Do you ever think about how many people you've helped quit smoking, Vic? Think about it quite a lot, actually, Marcus. And what with stop smoke? Well, not a lot, but some stop smoking services down south in England, and a few up here in Scotland that are actually running eSig 101 season 1. Not the second season, but the first season about pods and all that kind of stuff. There's been a lot of there's been a number of emails that have been sent to me ever since season 1 came out, which was at the end of last year. There's been a number of emails sent out to me that from folks at Stop Smoking Services who went to Stop Smoking Services and said, "Hey Vic, thanks to your videos that I watched over at Stop Smoking Services, I've gave up smoking." It was like, sweet, that's exactly the reason why I done those videos in the first place. Season 1 of eSig 101 was going to be the big one. It was going to be the big one because a lot of Stop Smoking Services have actually picked up on that series of videos, and they're actually playing it well, it depends on how the Stop Smoking Service runs, but if the smoker has already tried nicotine patches, nicotine gums, nicotine sprays, the last line of defence for a lot of these Stop Smoking Services is vaping. And because a lot of the stop smoking services don't know much about vaping, if anything about vaping, they ended up using season 1 of eSig 101, and they just say to the hey, there you go, here's a series of what I think it was 7 videos in the first season. Here's a series of 7 videos on YouTube, just watch them one after another. It's helped a lot of people give up smoking. A lot of people. Trying to recall the exact year I started vaping, but I can't totally pin it down. I think it was 2010, so you started way back before I did, Peter. Not a fan of tramadol. Ibuprofen, it's silly MG. Ibuprofen doesn't really do much for me, Shrek. Oh, it's the next door neighbour's Doug. The next door neighbour's dog is one of those dogs that run out the back door and bark at nothing. It's literally... there's nothing out there. But it just runs out and barks. It's one of those dogs. Yeah. So... you're going to be hearing that a lot until they bring the fucking dog back in. Oh, to be high on tramadol. I wish it worked for me, but nothing happens. Oh, trust me, tramadol works for me. Because if I wasn't on the tramadol right now, I'd be on that fucking bed sleeping. But you should make a super cold... Call it vaping with Vicks. V-I-C-K-S. Actually, that's given me an idea, Flat. Mr. Cap, that has actually given me an idea. I've been suffering from Vaper's tongue a lot over the past month and a half. Can't fucking taste anything. And I've been taken to is it the Juice Cabin guys? It's the Juice Cabin guys. The Juice Cabin guys have a really, really strong menthol tobacco. And you know me, I don't like fucking menthol. I just don't like menthol. But when you've got Vaper's tongue, menthol's about the only fucking thing you can actually taste. And I was actually ploughing through some of that menthol tobacco about a week and a half ago. Vic, what shots do you want to Expo? Eat my BB. How you doing, Eat my BB? Eat my BB, I'm probably not going to be going to Expo. That's like a 90% chance I'm probably not going to go to Expo. I'll cover that in a couple of minutes. Jeff, how you doing, Mr. Esposito? Get some of Nick's Blue. What? Yeah, guys, exactly, because when you can't fucking taste anything, that's when you start vaping all the liquids that you don't fucking like. Yep. My wife likes ice, only when I take hits all the way down. Yeah, it depends on how fucking strong the menthol is. Recently bought the Basilisk box. Man, that's going back a bit, the Basilisk. I'm only about 6 years behind. I vape it during the evening hours with a glass of ale. Love it. Absolutely spiffing. There's the other word for today, people. Spiffing. Yes. How you doing, other Sean? Mix my liquids was 30-70 PGVG, just switching to 50-50 give much more flavour. Not really, Bath, because, you know, you're still mixing it with the same flavour percentage. If you're putting like 20% flavour into a 30-70 VG mix or VG heavy mix, you're still putting the same 20% flavour in a 50-50 mix. The only way you're going to make that flavour tastes stronger is if you bump it up to 25% flavour mix percentage-wise. Most e-liquids, not all, this is not a general rule, right? But it's a kind of catch-all rule. Most e-liquid manufacturers, like Rochford Project, for instance, like Exceptional Vapes that does the vaping with Vic line, there's a general rule that most of those bottles of liquid that you're picking up off the store shelf is probably around 20% flavouring. So like 20% of the contents of this bottle is flavouring. Some companies bump it up to 25%, but that's an exception more than the rule these days. You still get, yeah, the 60 watt guy, the last 2 episodes of the current season of eSig 101 is, they're going to be done. I don't fucking know when, but they're going to be done within the next couple of weeks. Ask Nevins for the recipe of his Smurf Lust. That's going to be something cold and icy, I'm guessing. Good thing is you can add as much WS-23 as you want, so it's not overly menthol. Oh. Painkillers aren't good for flavours or bite, but they are good to get rid of pain though. The basilisk is very fragile, mine split near the 510. I've been hearing about that, about the basilisk, just asking since PG should be a flavour carrier. Yeah, PG's a flavour carrier, but when you're getting up into 20-25% flavouring, the difference between 50-50 PG-VG and 30-70 PG-VG, you're not going to taste the difference. You're not. Back in ye olden days of vaping, back when I first started in 2014 actually, this is why propylene glycol was classed as the flavour carrier, because e-liquids back in 2014 didn't tend to be as strong flavour wise as the e-liquids you're getting on the store shelf today. If you look at the likes of Decadent Vaper, who've been around since 2014, back in 2014 they were only putting 10 to 15% flavouring in their bottle of liquid, but back in 2014 the majority of their customers were mouth to lung vapors. And the problem is, you get a 10 or 15% flavouring bottle of liquid, right, like a bottle of liquid that was made by a mixer in 2014, and you hand that bottle of 10 to 15% flavouring to somebody that's vaping one of these, it's going to taste muted because there's not enough flavour in that bottle. But for a mouth to lung vapour, 10 to 15% flavouring is more than enough. For a direct to lung vapour that's drawing in a lot of air in with that vapour, yeah, 10 to 15% flavouring wasn't enough. That's why the industry shifted to 20 or 25% flavouring round about sometime at the end of 2015, going into the beginning of 2016, when stock coil sub-ohm tanks first hit the market thanks to the Atlantis from Aspire. Can you control slow mode? Yeah, I've got slow mode on right now. I think 10 seconds. I think to stop people from spamming. Who let the truant Stuart Valentine in? I thought we locked the doors. I used to vape desserts and custards exclusively. Now I don't get on with any. They all taste of pennies. What? They all taste of pennies, so there's a kind of copper flavour in there? Tried capers, tongue remedies, different tanks, coils, drippers, nothing helps. Sometimes, Sean, a flavour profile starts to shift. It's not your fault, but it's a fault of the way that the taste receptors react to a specific flavour. I'll give you a classic example. Back in 2015, I was a big Parma Violets fan. Nah, there's going to be people out there right now thinking, ew! Parma Violet. But I used to be a big Parma Violets fan. Parma Violets from Decadent Vaper or Parma Violets from the old Trip Hammer UK store. Fucking huge fan of Parma Violets e-liquids. I stopped vaping Parma Violets at the back end of 2016 because the flavour, to me at least, it started to move. So it was like a nice Parma. Now, the Parma Violets was, I got the Parma Violets e-liquid from the exact same two vendors. And those two vendors did not change the recipe. Nothing changed. But the flavour for me shifted. It shifted drastically over the course of about a week and a half. And I haven't vaped a Parma Violet. Well, I've vaped a couple of Parma Violets, but nah. It didn't taste the same to me. It's like the flavour profile shifted to like I was eating flowers. Yeah. Used to fucking love Parma Violets flavours though. Oh! Fucking loved Parma Violets. I notice if I vape a flavour for too long, let's say 30ml in a day or two, that flavour will start to taste muted after a while. Is that Vaper's tongue? It's something very similar to Vaper's tongue. See, that's why I've got 3 different flavours going at the same time, 60 watt guy. So I've got a fruity number, which is Rochford Project's Black Vine. I've got a baseline custard and peach. And usually for the third, I've got a naturally extracted tobacco, but not this time because this tank's empty and all the tobacco's up at the fucking studio. But I've usually got 2 or 3 flavours running at the same time. If you vape one flavour all the way through the day, especially if you're direct to lung in that flavour, it starts to taste muted because your tongue becomes deadened to the flavour. It gets to the stage that you're vaping it that much. Your tongue starts to become deadened to the flavour that you're actually inhaling. So that's why it's always advisable to at least vape 2 different flavours. At least 2 different flavours during the day. That way you don't become desensitised to the flavour of the liquid that you're actually vaping. And yeah, Puros Santa Clara from Trip Hammer. Possibly the best NET I have ever tried. Puros Santa Clara. It's a fucking phenomenal flavour, that one. Phenomenal flavour. 3 flavours at the same time, that give me Vaper's tongue. No, it doesn't for me. I have 37 active combos, all with different liquids in them. So that means you've got 37 different bottles of liquid sitting on your... Well, that would explain how stacked your desk is, Red. Taste tolerance. That's the word for it, Lewis. Yeah. Oh god, yeah, totally. Trip Hammer's fucking cream tea. Oh! Trip Hammer made some seriously good liquids back then. Trip Hammer's fruit pastels. Oh! Oh, that was my... If it wasn't Puros Santa Clara, it was Trip Hammer's fruit pastels. That was my all-time favourite. Fucking loved their fruit pastels liquid. Loved it. Do you know how Martin Parker is doing right now? Garrett, I haven't chatted to Martin for fucking years. The last time I spoke to Martin Parker was about, what? It would have been about 5-6 weeks after he announced his previous retirement. I haven't spoken to him since then. Good evening, Vic, and congratulations for your vaping journey. I have learned so much about vape from you. My 4th year of vaping. Shout out from Brazil. Thank you very much. I'm going to butcher this name. Is you Miley? I've probably butchered the name. Sorry. How to prevent a tank from leaking if I keep my kit in a backpack? Will closing the airflow help? Closing the airflow will help a little. what I would suggest is, I mean, if you've got your tank or your mod sitting in your backpack and your backpack's rocking back and forth as you're walking, here's a tip for you: don't store the mod and tank in your backpack upright. Store it upside down, like that, upside down. That way the liquid's pulled to the bottom of the tank, and where the cotton and coil is at the top, there's no liquid. So if the tank's upside down, it's not going to leak. That's one way you can do it. Vic PM sent, hold on Hephaestus. Now I need to do this with the varifocals because I'm trying to fucking read on the other screen. Hold on. Fuck. It's the thing about getting old, people, you need to start using varifocals. Mind you, I can fucking read now close up without doing this shit anymore. Hold on. Why the fuck is Facebook not loading? Oh, there we go. Right. Okay, I've got your message, Hephaestus. Got your message. What about top fill? Won't they leak upside down? No, they won't, Bath. Right. See, when you get a tank like this, right? In fact, you can't really do it with this because that fucking thing's almost empty. You get a tank that's full of liquid like that. Here's a tank. Classic tank that's currently full of peach custard that you can buy from Exceptional Vapes. Go and buy some. I need the money. Go and buy some. No, right. So you've got a tank like this that's sitting upright. Okay. If you are walking around with this in your jacket pocket, the tank's rocking backwards and forwards. Now that's really not going to really do much. But if you do that a lot to a tank, you see it, the liquid's sloshing from side to side. There's pressure variances happening inside the tank when you do that to a tank too much. There's pressure variances, not up here, but down there where it matters. And that's not just that. If you're mountain climbing, not that I ever do because I'm a lazy fuck, right? But if you're mountain climbing and the pressure variances start to become really bad, you've got a tank that's sitting upright. Where's the liquid going to go? Because of the pressure variances, where's all the liquid going to go? It's going to go in down here at the base, because that's the only point of escape. It's the only point of escape for a tank that's sitting upright and full. If you get pressure variances happening up here, the tank's going to leak from down there. Liquid, like air, takes the least path of resistance to get out. You do that with the tank. Wait for it. Can you tell this peach custard is practically max VG because it's taken a fucking long time? Come on, you fucker. There we go. You do that with a tank, you've now got all the liquid down here, but you've got a lot of air up here. Air, like liquid, takes the least path of resistance to get out or go in. So you're not going to get the leak down here. You're going to get the air escaping from up here. This is why when I'm out and about down the town and I'm putting my mod back in my jacket pocket, I don't put it in like that. I put it in upside down. That way the tank's not going to leak because it's only air that's getting in and out from the wicks at the top. Yep. Variances. That's another word for today, Kevin. Yes. Shut up, Noel. Mountain climbing, otherwise known as walking up the street in Yorkshire. How weather has the same effect soon makes you borrow. Yeah, very true, Kevin. Very true. Hot summer's day, for instance, especially if the temperature gets above 20 degrees Celsius, VG starts to loosen up. Like, VG's a very thick liquid. We can see it sloshing away very slowly in this tank. But if you go outside on a hot summer's day, that VG starts to loosen up. And if you've wicked your tank for thicker vegetable glycerin, and you've got your tank sitting outside, let's say you're down the pub, right, and it's a blisteringly hot summer's day, and your tank's sitting there, and your tank's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and unlike when you're vaping it, when you're chain vaping it, that tank's got a chance to cool down outside. But if you're outside on a hot summer's day, the tank's not cooling down, so that heat's getting transferred into the liquid. VG, when it heats up, becomes more watery like. You've wicked for the thicker side of VG, your tank starts to leak. It's not your fault, it's the weather's fault for loosening up the vegetable glycerin. Yep. Oh yeah, planes are bad for it, Paul. This is why the people have said to me, Vic, I'm going on holiday. What tank should I take? And I say, it doesn't matter what tank you take, empty it. Empty it. Don't have any liquid in that tank when you go on that plane. Empty the tank. Empty it. Have a little pod kit with you, because if something's going to leak, it's better a pod kit leaks in your pocket rather than a tank with 4 ml of juice inside it. Bring a pod kit. You can vape the pod when you get off the plane and out the airport, and then you can fill the tank back up when you're out the plane. Never take a full tank onto a plane. It will leak. No ifs, no buts. It will leak because of the pressure variances going on inside the airport, going on inside the cabin. How about top airflow? Top airflow tanks doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because think about it, right? If I got a top airflow tank here, no, I don't. They're all at the fucking studio, right? You've got your air coming in from the bottom in a bottom airflow tank. So the air's coming in and up, right? So remember that. Bottom airflow tank, the air's coming in and up. Top airflow tank, the air's coming in, down, along and up. Now, top airflow, air's going down, in and up. Bottom airflow, air's going in and up. The only difference between a top airflow tank and a bottom airflow tank is a simple one. If this tank floods the deck, it will leak. If this tank floods the deck in a top airflow tank, the liquid is going to pull around down here, and the next time you pick up that top airflow tank, after filling that tank up before you get on the plane, and then taking that tank out and vaping on it, once you've left the plane, is you're basically going to inhale about 2 ml of juice directly into your lungs because it's not leaked. But technically speaking, top airflow tanks still leak, but they don't leak out the bottom airflow. The liquid's trapped in the deck. So you walk out and go, you're just getting a mouthful of liquid. You're still getting a mouthful of liquid because the liquid's got no way to escape out from the bottom of that deck because the airflow's up here, it's not down here. So even with a top airflow tank, you've still got to get on the plane with an empty tank. You've still got to empty the tank. What do you prefer, NI80 or Canthal A1? Canthal A1. I'm old school. I still prefer Canthal A1. When Vic retrieves said upside down tank from pocket, goes to vape it, no draw, chimney strapped full of his sweetie wrappers. Cheers, Matthew. Mr. Mike Haynes, how you doing, Mike? Got the Pandora V2, but struggling to get decent flavour. I have got to Wicking right. You mean you've got to get the Wicking right? The Pandora V2's generally very forgiving when it comes to. It's not one of the most forgiving, but it's generally forgiving when it comes to wicking. It could be, I mean, if you're not getting strong flavour out of it, there's a good chance you could be using a little bit too much cotton, Dwayne. In other words, there's too much cotton inside the coil, so it's choking off the supply of liquid to the middle of the coil itself. Next time you wick it, try a little bit less cotton. You might notice a difference then. Sorry I missed the start. Are you keeping the studio going? I'm going to talk. I keep saying I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes, and then a few minutes passes by and I'm still answering questions in chat. Give it a couple of minutes. In fact, you know what? I'm going to cover it now, because if I don't, this is going to turn into a 3-hour fucking cast, and I'm going to get more and more fucking stoned, because it means I'll need to pop more fucking tramadol. So, as some of you may have noticed, well, not some, all of you may have noticed, there hasn't been that many reviews going out in the channel. This started happening about it wasn't a month and a half, it must have been about 2 months ago. Legion Vape sent me, how you doing, Mowgli? This must have started happening about 2.5 months ago. I am not in the best of health. Not just right now, but generally speaking, for the past 5 years, I am generally not in the best of health. But what happened? Vic, have 9 pints as well, please. Mike, right now I can't drink because of the fucking medication that I'm currently on. Yeah, about 2.5 months ago, things started going downhill very, very fucking fast. Round about midway through in fact it wasn't even midway through February, it was midway through fucking January. All sorts of fucking weird and wonderful health problems started rearing their ugly head again, that I've suffered from for the past fucking 2 decades. But things started getting bad, and the doctor essentially said, Vic, you're getting old. That's basically it. You know, and it's like, the basics is this, right? This is the very basics. Technically speaking, over the past 5 years, I should have been on ESA. That's Employment Support Allowance / PIP / whatever the fuck the Tory government's calling it these days. But the doctor said, technically speaking, if how did he word this? If you were not, what was adamant, not Adam Ant, as in the singer, adamant, right? That's the word they use, it's stuck in my head. If you were not adamant about keeping on working, Vic, I would put you on ESA. So technically speaking, over the past 5 years, I should have been on the sick ESA, either the work-related activity group, or if my luck was in, the non-work-related activity group. But the problem with being on ESA is, and I used to be on it a long fucking time ago, Employment Support Allowance, going into 2014. The problem with ESA is you start to become dead to the world, is one way to describe it. But the other problem is, when you're on ESA, you've got the constant pressure of the Department of Work and Pensions on your back. I mean, if anyone remembers what it was like for me back in 2015 and 2016, with the amount of fucking investigations that the Department of Work and Pensions used to do about me, because apparently back in 2015 and 2016 I was making thousands of pounds a month. Elaine Hart, anyone remember her? Yeah, I was making thousands of pounds a month. And fucking idiots like Elaine Hart used to phone up the DWP and say, oh, Vic's claiming disability, but look at him, he's making thousands of pounds a month from reviewing e-cigarettes. And it was like fucking investigation after investigation after investigation. And I basically said, you know what? I don't want to get through that shit again. I really don't. So that's when, fuck off, Kevin. That's why I decided to go down the road of being self-employed. But so does not affect, yeah, exactly Big G. How you doing, Big G? So that's why I went down the road of being self-employed. But over the past 2.5 months, in fact, it's not just over the past 2.5 months, over the past year, I'll go with the past year, I've basically been fighting an uphill fucking struggle when it comes to the health. Now, a lot of those health problems are starting to become better. I suppose you could say, I mean, the eyes are a lot better than they used to be for a start, but a lot of the problems with the stomach, because it's mostly stomach problems with me, a lot of the problems with the stomach and other problems that are wrapped around that are starting to be worked out. They are starting to be worked out. But then about a month and a half ago to a month ago, Mother Dearest started falling ill, and she's not really fully recovered all that much yet, so she started having health problems as well, and the whole lot just fucking snowballed into one big snowball of absolute crap. And that's the major reason why I haven't really been doing that many reviews over the past month and a half, because as I started to get better, Mother Dearest started to get progressively worse. Now she's out of the bad side of things now. She's on the road to recovery, but she's still not 100%. She's nowhere near 100%. So that's the long and short of it about why I haven't really been around that much over the past month and a half. It's mostly health things, to be honest. That's what it comes down to. Cheers, Olé! I've probably butchered that name, but to me that looks like Olé. Been there, hell, still there. Yeah, exactly, Dom. Yep, exactly. I'm fucking still there as well. That's why I'm currently doped up in tramadol right now. Oh, the strike, Ben, that happened. Oh, yeah, see. There was a time. There was a time, I think it must have been about a day after the strike. The strike happened last week, where they basically it was a WhatsApp. It was one of the old WhatsApps. Anyone remember this? Some of you reviewers have been around as long as I have will remember this. This is a kniffy. I don't want to say the actual word correctly, but this is a kniffy that Asmodus sent out to reviewers. Now, why the fuck Asmodus decided to send a kniffy out to reviewers, I don't fucking know. They were probably trying to show off the very nice stabilised wood handle on the kniffy. But it was an old WhatsApp where I was waving that kniffy about, saying how wonderful and it's a fucking cracking handle that's on this thing. Look at that. Full resin stabilised wood handle. Yeah, I got struck because they thought I was selling dangerous weapons. So yeah, it got struck. They lifted the strike though. It took them about 5 fucking days, but they did actually lift the strike. But that's why I was struck. It's the new method of cutting your cotton. Yeah, just slice it. Just hack it with a knife. Oh, fuck, I said the word. Yeah, you're selling dangerous weapons, Vic, because you said that word once. You gotta love YouTube. You gotta fucking love YouTube. You really do. So, on top of all this, right, there was a span of about 5 or 6 hours last week when I was dealing with a particularly bad day when it came to the health, along with a strike where I thought, you know what, Vic, if you're going to walk away, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do it. Do you just shut down the Patreon, shut down everything and just toddle off on your merry way? And there's been a couple of points over the past month and a half where I thought to myself, you know, is your health going to get progressively worse? And if it gets progressively worse, what are you going to do about it? Because there's no actual cure for the illnesses that I suffer from, because it's chronic. It's not acute, it's a chronic syndrome that's just going to keep getting progressively worse as the years go on. And I thought, well, fuck. And this is the headspace that I've been in over the past month and a half, and it's not a very good headspace to be in. It's also one of the reasons why I haven't actually been doing that many reviews, because when you're in a headspace of being in constant fucking annoying pain that even the tramadol's not actually able to. The pain's still there, but it's deadened thanks to the tramadol. But if you're in that headspace of constant, chronic, gnawing pain, you're not in a headspace to do happy, fluffy pink clouds and rainbows and unicorns. You're not in that headspace to do a happy review video, and that's why there's been no reviews. That's really why there's been no reviews. Yeah, YouTube's been going down the pan for the past 5 years now, Cloud. Oh yeah, that's very true, William. That's very true. Now, on top of all that, there's the problem of the economic crisis. And it is a big economic crisis. You lot out there watching this right now have felt it. Your electricity bills have went up, your gas bills have went up, the food bills have went up. Every fucking bill is going up. Whether it be due to basic inflation hitting over and above 10%, because it hit 10.4% in February from what I remember, or whether it be due to the overall cost of living. You've got less spare cash. That's what it comes down to, less spare cash. And this channel, 90 to 95% of the income for this channel comes in from Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members, with YouTube members and Patreon being the two big ones. There's about 8-9 members over in Subscribestar right now, but with the cost of living crisis, there's been about, I think I've lost over the past 9 to 10 months, when the cost of living crisis first started to kick in, I've lost about 50% of the income coming in for Vaping with Vic. 50% of the income just gone, just like that. There has been, hold on, then it occurred to me, how do big series coils work when Ohm's law? Higher resistance need but higher wattage. A head scratch. What? I just spotted this and it derailed my train of thought. Today I was talking about ohms to a work colleague. Then it occurred to me, how do big series coils work with Ohm's law? Higher resistance but need higher wattage. A head scratcher. That's because that coil has been made for a series mech. So instead of 4.2 volts from a single battery mech, or 4.2 volts from dual parallel batteries, you're talking, hold on, 4.2, yeah, you're talking 8.4 volts being pumped directly into the coil. So if you pump 8.4 volts into a 0.2 ohm coil, you're basically going to weld the coil, and then your batteries are going to go, fuck you, vent and explode. So that's why you need to have higher resistance on the coils, because of the 8.4 volt rating. See, that's why I don't dabble in series mechs, because they scare the fuck out of me. They just do. Fucking 8.4 volts. Who the fuck wants to vape in 8.4 volts? No! That's why I don't dabble in series mechs, because shit gets too fucking complicated for me when you're dealing with series mechanical mods. That's when you start having to deal with odd, long, high-ish resistance coils. And that coil wouldn't really work in any other position for a 4.2 volt based system. So you're locked to 8.4 volts for that particular coil type. That's why I don't bother with series mechs. They just confuse the fuck out of me. They really do. No. Take your series mech and keep it. There you go, keep it. No. So I just seen that, and that fucking completely derailed what I was talking about. So yeah, on top of all that, the income for vaping with Vic is the income for vaping with Vic is basically drying up. That is not the fault of any one person in particular. It's the fault of the current economic crisis. The cost of living's went up for everyone, including here in this house. The fucking gas bill's astronomical for this house now, because everyone knows how fucking nice and toasty Mother Dearest likes to keep the house. It's like a fucking sauna in here right now. But yeah, gas bills, electricity bills have went up. I'll just come out and say this. I haven't paid the rent on the studio for the past 2 months now. Going into 3 months, coming to think of it, because we're getting into April now. Haven't paid the rent in the studio for the past couple of months because I simply don't have the fucking money to pay for it. So right now it's looking that I'm going to have to give up the studio going into next month. It also means that, again, it's looking right now that I will not be going to the UK Vaper Expo in May. Because if I can't afford to keep the studio going, I sure as hell can't afford the half a fucking grand it's going to cost me to end up going to the UK Vaper Expo. Now I've kept the hotel booked. I've kept it. I haven't cancelled the booking. The hotel is still booked. Now there is a couple of irons in the fire right now. A lot of the fault of why I'm currently in this position is basically down to me, because as everyone knows, when it came to this channel, when it comes to this channel and the way this channel operates, I try to be as transparent as I possibly can be about the finances and the way this channel runs. No other reviewer out there, period, full stop, and I can say this categorically speaking, no other reviewer out there is as transparent when it comes to the financial side of how it runs as I am. No other person out there, no other reviewer out there is. And I made the decision, and it was a fucking stupid decision, but again, fucking hands up, it's my fault for making that decision. I made a series of decisions over the past couple of years, which basically disabled large chunks of income for what is essentially Vaping with Vic as the business. For instance, Disposables. I firmly shut the door on the fucking things over the past year and a half, and it's only very fucking recently that I decided to open that door up just a tiny bit, but not for all Disposables, only for ones that do something different in the world of Disposables, like the Pheno and that other disposable that I looked at that's good. Just flow control, you know. It's not your Lost Mary or your Elf Bar or your other pissy lump of plastic with shitty Malaysian juice inside it. It's a disposable that does something different in the overall market. So I opened the door slightly to that kind of disposable, but it's not just that. There was other sources of income for Vaping with Vic that I decided not to do, because in the back of my head I thought, well, if you start doing that, Vic, you're going to be open to a lot of criticism from people who would like to criticise you. And then I remembered, well, hold on a minute, Vic, and I've started thinking about this over the past month and a half as I was looking over the precipice going into fucking bankruptcy, which is what it looked like at the very beginning of this fucking month. And I thought, well, hold on, Vic, you know, your critics are going to criticise you no matter what the fuck you end up doing anyway. They criticise you for being too transparent when it comes to the incomings and outgoings for Vaping with Vic. They criticise you when you're not transparent enough. They criticise you when you don't do disposable reviews, yet they criticise you when you actually do a disposable review, and there's no fucking winning with these people. So, there is a couple of irons in the fire right now. And one of them is a full channel sponsorship. And I'm not talking about, oh, Company X is going to sponsor a giveaway. I'm talking about a full channel sponsorship. Couple of irons in the fire right now. And what this full channel sponsorship basically entails is there's going to be baked in adverts for a couple of specific companies that's rolled in with the actual video. So it's not going to be a YouTube advert that you can skip. Well, technically speaking, you can still skip a baked in ad, but it's not going to be a YouTube served advert. It's going to be a baked in advert. If anyone's watched Linus Tech Tips, or even Jay's 2 Cents, or Gamers Nexus, or Bitwit, or any of the big tech reviewers, and they usually say, and now a word from our sponsors, and then a video starts playing, that's a baked in ad. The tech reviewers have been doing it for years. Literally for years. Linus Tech Tips been doing it for years. Jay's 2 Cents started doing baked in ads about 3.5, 4 years ago. Gamers Nexus started doing baked in ads about 4.5, 5 years ago from what I remember. That's what I'm going to be doing with those irons that are currently in the fire right now. The Segway thing. Linus and his Segways that never work. That's the kind of idea, Bath Plus. But that's the kind of irons I've got in the fire right now. And if the irons come out hot, then I will be going to the UK Vaper Expo in May, because the adverts are going to pay for it. Simple as that. If the adverts, okay, Red, catch you later. If the adverts come out cold, then I'm fucked. I won't be going to the UK Vaper Expo. I will be shutting down the studio. I will be selling off a lot of the equipment in the studio, probably via Facebook Marketplace, and I will start doing the reviews back here in the house again. Yeah, but only for a limited time. So it all basically depends. I'm having a Google camera video meeting thingamy-bob, like a Teams meeting. I'm having a meeting with one of the said companies face to face next week to hammer out some kind of a deal for Vaping with Vic and the adverts that I'm going to be baking in. The adverts that I'm going to be baking into the reviews. So that's one of the two irons in the fire that I've got actually in the fire cooking away right now. So it basically means there's going to be baked in ads for the channel, which is something I was actually going to start doing as far back as 2019. But the thing is, right, and this is the oddity. This is the oddity of YouTube electronic cigarette reviewers. You look at, okay, Noel, catch you later on. You look at Linus Tech Tips. And first a word from our sponsors with these really, really bad segues. You look at Jay's 2 Cents, who does the exact same thing. Gamers Nexus, who does the exact same thing. Car reviewers. There's a couple of car reviewers. I can't remember the name of the fucking channel now. But you've seen it. Adverts, like baked in ads by the YouTube channel itself. Not by YouTube, but this is an advert and sponsorship deal that was cut between the YouTube channel owner and a third-party company, where that YouTube channel owner gets all the money and YouTube doesn't get a cut. That's been going on for years. Literally years on YouTube. But for some strange reason, the minute a YouTube reviewer in the e-cigarette world starts talking about baked-in adverts, oh, you can't do that! No! This is the thing about when it comes to the e-cig review. When it comes to the e-cig review side of things on YouTube, classic example, Grim Green. He's got something like, what, 500,000 subscribers? Something like 500,000 subs? Rip Tripper, over 1 million subs. So if you take those two channels of 500,000 subs and 1,000,000 subs, and you take those two same channels and you put them in any other category, literally any other category in YouTube, and you put sponsor messages in them, nobody would bat an eyelid. Yeah, exactly, Chris. Raid Shadow Legends, that was a big one that popped up recently. Fucking everybody was advertising Raid Shadow Legends. But you take that 500,000 sub Grim Green channel, 1,000,000 sub Rip Tripper channel, put them in any other category in YouTube, and then shove in baked in ads, nobody would bat an eyelid. But for some strange reason, here in the e-cigarette world, no, you can't have baked in ads. No, that's not right. You're not allowed to make money. You're not allowed to make money in the e-cigarette world. What? NordVPN, that's another one, Sean. There's another one that came up recently. Private internet access, I think, Sean. Yeah, it was private internet access. I think I seen Gamers Nexus advertising that one. Private internet access. So that's the irons in the fire that I've currently got. Now, within those irons that are in the fire, there is a caveat. There is rules on YouTube, because YouTube hates vaping. We all fucking know they do. YouTube hates vaping. So the two companies that I'm in talks with right now for some kind of baked in ad system, they are not a shop. Well, technically speaking, you go to their website, they're actually a manufacturer. They're a manufacturer. They're not technically speaking a shop. So let's say, big shop here in the UK, let's say Vaping 101 over in the east coast of Scotland, or let's say eCig 1 down south in England, was to contact me tomorrow and say, hey Vic, we want to buy a baked in advert on 2 reviews a week, and we're going to give you X amount of money. I would need to say no, because again, YouTube rules, and more especially the current TRPR and TPD rules over in fucking Europe, basically would class that as marketing, because eCig 1 and Vaping 101 are front window shops. So I cannot advertise an actual shop in a baked in ad on an e-cigarette review. But I can advertise a manufacturer that's not directly selling from the front of their website. So this is the trick that I've been having to pull over the past couple of months, at least, when I've been thinking and doing these baked in ads. I've been severely limited with the road that I can go down with what I'm going to be doing. But if the Surfshark, yeah, that's another one that fucking cropped up recently. Fucking everybody's fucking, I don't even know what the it's all about VPN shit right now. Anyone notice that? Surfshark, Nord, private internet access, the VPNs are all over the fucking place. But that's the road that I've been having to travel down recently, and a lot of the UK Andy, how you doing, Andy? No, I'm not doing an OnlyFans, Ant. UK Andy, how you doing? But that's the road that I've been travelling down over the past month and a half. The reason I'm at this point is because of decisions that I took 2 years ago. Because 2 years ago, this was in the middle of the pandemic, right? 2 years ago, the monetary income for Vaping with Vic was still running at 90 to 95% Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members. But 2 years ago, there wasn't a cost of living crisis. There simply wasn't. And I was making something like 4 times the money on Patreon that I'm making right now. I was thinking about going down the road because I thought to myself, well, here's the thing, Vic. If you keep things going and you're relying on 90 to 95% of the income for Vaping with Vic from crowdfunding only, what happens if there's another bank run like the 2008 crash, which we're actually seeing right now? Credit Suisse was taken over. There's another fucking Deutsche Bank in Germany is this close to going under. There's another 2008 economic crash just around the corner, people. It's literally just around the corner. Because you've got Deutsche Bank on its knees right now, and Credit Suisse has already been taken over. This is what I was thinking 2 years ago. What if there's another banking crisis? What if there's another one? You're going to lose a lot of people on Patreon, Subscribestar, and the YouTube members because the cost of living is going to go up. But 2 years ago, things were looking good. Things were looking good. We were just starting to come out of the pandemic. Businesses were opening back up. Everyone was happy. And I thought to myself, well, you know, I don't need to worry about that right now, Vic. Take that scary thought, wrap it up in cotton wool and tell it to fuck off. And that's exactly what I did 2 years ago, because I was this close, literally this fucking close, to running sponsored ads on the channel. But I decided not to, because again, and I know this for a fact, that if one of the irons of the two that's currently in the fire right now, if one of those irons come out hot, there is going to be baked in ads on at least 2 reviews a week. And I know for a fact I'm going to get criticised for it. Because again, YouTube e-cig reviewers are not allowed to make money. But all the other reviewers are, just not e-cig reviewers. Oh no, you can't make money. No, well, you know what, fuck you. You're not the one sitting here with no fucking money in your bank. Simple as that. So there we go. A lot of the problems that I am looking at right now, that's not to do with the health, right? But a lot of the problems that I'm looking at right now is due to stupid decisions that I took a couple of years ago. Literally stupid decisions. No, there's going to be no VPN ads, David. I'm fucking sick of seeing those as well. Fucking sick of seeing those. Tunnel Bear. Oh my fucking god. The amount of YouTube channels that are fucking advertising Tunnel Bear. How many VPN services do we need? I mean, seriously, how fucking many? So, the position that I am now currently in, this is right now, today, on the 9th anniversary of this channel, 28th of March 2014 is when the first video on this channel appeared. The position that I'm in right now, I am, technically speaking, still only 2 months behind on the rent of the studio. Technically speaking. I am currently looking at a bank account that's overdrawn. Yay! And there is zero chance in hell of me going to the UK Vaper Expo in May. Next week, right, and I think it's the beginning, it's either Monday or Tuesday next week, the first of these meetings is going to take place between me and another company. And if that iron comes out hot of the fire, it means that it's going to be the first of 2 companies that's going to sign up for baked-in adverts for reviews on Vaping with Vic. And it also means that there's going to be enough money in the bank to pay off the backlog of the studio rent. And there's also going to be enough money left over for me to actually get to the UK Vaper Expo. So the end of next week is going to be make or break for this channel. Simple as that. It's going to be make or break for this channel. If the 2 irons come out cold, the studio gets shut down. 3/4 of its contents get sold, because what I'll end up doing is if I shut down the studio, I am basically going to shut down the business side of Vaping with Vic. Now I know that there's going to be some people out there saying, well, Vic, hold on, Vic, you've got all those mods on your shelf, why don't you sell them? I can't. Other reviewers out there can sell their old mods openly. The trouble is I can't, because Vaping with Vic is tax registered under the HMRC, and under the marketing rules of the TRPR, because I'm a registered business that's not registered as a retailer, I'm not allowed to sell these. I'm not allowed to sell them. That's why I give them away, or they get auctioned off. Because if I give them away, I'm not getting any money from it. In fact, I'm spending money with the fucking postage. If I give them away, I'm not making any money from it. Or if they're auctioned, all the money is going to a third party and not into my bank account. That's why I'm not selling off any of the Kadamas I've got up on the shelves, or the Titans that I've got up on the shelf. That's why I'm not selling any of them off, because technically speaking, I'm not fucking allowed to do it. I'm not allowed to do it. Yeah, well, that's true, Lewis. And one of the folks in the building said you could sell them on the hush hush, Vic. We're talking about the HMRC here, folks. We're talking, and they'll find out, and I don't want to risk a £10,000 fine, because that's how much the fucking fine is if they catch you. If they catch you selling, if you're caught under the TRPR and TPD marketing laws, right, under the marketing laws, it's a big grey area for vaping reviewers. Technically, we're looked at under the TRPR as marketers. If you're caught selling under the marketing subcategory, it's a £10,000 fine. Just like that. £10,000. Pay up now or pay it in small chunks. I don't want to go down that fucking road. Nah, I don't want to go down that road. That's why I don't sell any of this. I mean, there's other reviewers out there that openly sell their former review samples for like £20 or £25 in their Facebook group. That's fine, because they're not registered as a business. They're doing it as a hobby, so they can sell their old review samples. I can't. I've either got to give it away or I've got to auction it. That's the only thing I can do. Scotland 2-0 Spain full times. Is that right, Sean? Scotland fucking won. I didn't even know they were fucking playing. See, I'm not a big footy man, Sean. I'm more of a rugby fan. I'm more of a ruggers fan than football. No, I'm not going to give them to my mother. No. She still calls this smoking. Yeah, I know. Like, what was that? I think it was at the end of Christmas. I was vaping on some kind of gingerbread. Who the fuck did I get that from? I think it might have been from the local vape. I was in the mood for a Christmassy vape, and it was some kind of gingerbread thing, and it was actually quite nice. It was a very, very, very fucking sweet, but it was a very nice kind of gingerbread cinnamony flavour e-liquid. And my little mother, they just came toddling upstairs and thought that's a very nice flavoured smoke that you're smoking on. And I keep saying, it's not smoke, it's vaping. It's vaping, mother, it's vaping. I've given up. She just keeps calling it smoking. I've given up. So that's that. CC coils next week. Vic will be Vic suit tagged with logos. So next week I'll find out. Whether Vaping with Vic can continue in the general direction it's heading in right now, or Vaping with Vic will basically need to sell off 3/4 of the stuff that's basically sitting in that studio, because what I'll end up doing, if those irons come out cold, that's it. Game's over. It's over. It's simply over. I'll need to give up the studio. There is no way that all of that stuff sitting in that fucking studio is going to fit in this bedroom, so I'll end up selling off the lights. I'll be selling off a large chunk of the stuff that you're seeing on the shelves behind me. All the Asmodus Kadamas, they'll have to go. All the Titans will go. There will be a massive sell-off of all the stuff that makes up Vaping with Vic, and I'll just start doing the reviews here in the bedroom again, and just keep doing it as a hobby. But we'll find out. This time. Well, it's going to be this time next week. When's that meeting? I'll need to check. I think the meeting's either Monday or Tuesday, but we'll find out next week. Yeah, exactly. Vindictive. Back to old school Vaping with Vic in 2014 and 15 when I was doing it in the house. But that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons. That plus the fucking ongoing, gnawing fucking health problems that have been going on over the past month and a half. This is why I haven't really been. This is why I haven't really been on reviews that much. To be honest, a lot of it is down to the fucking health problems, because I've been staring at this brick wall, the money side of things. I've been staring at this brick wall coming at me for the past year now, literally for the past year, because the cost of living crisis first started popping its head up about a year ago, and as the Patreon numbers started to decline, along with the YouTube members started to decline, I thought to myself, Vic, you're on a train. You're on a train that's travelling at 100 miles an hour right now, and there is a big fuck-off thick brick wall at the end of this line. You either slam on the brakes right now, or you ignore it, and you let that train hit that brick wall. Well, guess what, folks? The train is now this close to hitting the brick wall. That's what it comes down to. And a lot of it is down to stupid decisions that I took 2 years ago. What's the best dual coil RDA for this moment in your opinion? Asgard Mini. Asgard Mini. I mean, you've got other decent dual coil RDAs, but the Asgard Mini, it's a fucking phenomenal little RDA. There you go, Asgard Mini. But that's one of the reasons I haven't been doing that many reviews. Number one, I'm spending most days right now doped up on tramadol. You can see it in the eyes. I've got that kind of blank look in the eyes. You can see it. You can see it. And when you're Ripsaw, that's a phenomenal RD, the Ripsaw. But the problem with the Ripsaw is, CC, there's a bit of a shortage right now. There's a lot of places that are out of stock of the Ripsaw RDA, because the demand's fucking extremely high for the Ripsaw right now. So that's why I usually say Asgard Mini, because the Asgard Mini's fucking everywhere. It's everywhere. But that's one of the reasons that the reviews, a vacant look, which is what I usually have, to be honest, Kevin, but even more of a vacant look with the tramadol. When you're trying to do a review, right, tramadol acts differently for different people. Some people, they go cross-eyed and start seeing pink elephants, right? Other people get that kind of, and people that take tramadol will know what this is, the tramadol haze. It feels like you've just woke up. That's literally what it feels like, for me anyway. If I get doped up in tramadol for the pain, that feeling you get when you've literally just woke up, that kind of hazy feeling, you don't quite know where you are, that's the feeling I've got right now. Trying to do a review when your head is in that state, no, just don't. Because number one, you're going to make a lot of fuck-ups. You're going to make a royal amount of fuck-ups in that review. And number two, people are going to see it in the review. They're going to see it. It's like, look at Vic. He's stoned. Yay! Nah, that's why there's been no reviews. That's why there's been no reviews, folks. RTA or RTA? I'm thinking TDR meant RDA or RTA. All depends on what you prefer. Very true, TDR. Oh yeah, it's very unique, Lewis. Fuck. Alright, Keith McLaren, is RDA better than RTA, Vic? Technically speaking, Keith, and this is technically speaking, right? RDAs are technically better than RTAs. However, this comes with a caveat. Not caviar, Shrek, if you're still here. Comes with a caveat. Tanks like this, right? This is the Eclipse Dual from Mr. Mike Vapes. tanks like this, the shorter tanks, not the older style, longer tanks, dual coil RTAs are now at the stage that they give as good as flavour as an RDA. There, I said it. Fucking sue me. But here's the fucking thing. It is true. Where we're at with the dual coil RTA, the flavour is practically on par with any other mainstream dual coil RDA that's currently out on the market. Because RTAs have improved dramatically over the past 2 years. Simple as that. They've improved dramatically over the past 2 years. So you get a dual coil RTA with a wide open airflow. You get a dual coil RDA with a wide open airflow. You put the same two coils in it from the same coil manufacturer. You wick it with the same cotton from the same cotton supplier. You put the same liquid in both of those, in that RTA and in that RDA, the same e-liquid flavour, and you run the RTA and the dripper at roughly the same wattage. I bet you'll be hard pressed to tell the difference between the two. Go on, try it. If you've got a current generation RTA, like a dual coil, right? Not single, a dual coil RTA that's been released over the past 6 months. Coil it up with the same coils that you put in your dual coil RDA and put the same liquid in it. I will bet that you will be hard pressed to tell the difference between the RTA and RDA. Now, this is where the technical side comes in, because there's some dual coil RTAs that aren't able to go up to the RDA flavour level. And a lot of that is down to either an over restriction on the airflow. In other words, restrictive direct to lung rather than fully open direct to lung that some RDAs are actually giving you. Or it's down to the way that the juice flow works within the actual deck. In other words, you're not able to keep a constant flow of liquid going into the coil. But technically speaking, this is an overgeneralization. Technically speaking, RDAs are better than RTAs. But that gap is getting very, very thin between the two. Very fucking thin between the two. I mean, this is the reason. Tank RTA, right? Tank RTA. Okay, this is an old tank now, but it's still a tank RTA and an empty tank RTA. And look what I've got beside me. I've got the Goon. What Goon's that? It's the one with the holes, it's not the one with the slot. It's a fucking phenomenal dripper, the Goon, right? I've got a Goon sitting there. I have got... that I've just dropped because I'm stoned and I can't be picking it up. Hold on. Fucking ham-fisted idiot. Hold on. Where the fuck did that go? Okay. Oh, there it is. Where was that again? Oh, J Hayes' 502. So I've got J Hayes' 502 sitting next to me. What else have I got here? Ah, fuck it, I'll put that there. Oh, talking about fucking classic drippers. Kennedy, I think this is the Kennedy 24. Yeah, Kennedy 24. Fucking phenomenal dripper. And on the top side, dual Kennedy 25. So I've got a shitload of really, really good drippers. But I still use tanks. You see, I still use tanks because certain tanks are able to keep up with the flavour from certain drippers. And plus, I just like using tanks. I just like using tanks. The trouble with me and drippers is usually I forget to drip. And then I just end up inhaling burnt fucking cotton and hacking my lungs up for the next hour. That's why I like tanks. Hello, Mr. Sam. Oh, the Kylan, especially the original Kylan RTA. The flavour from that tank was, at the time, the flavour from that tank was fucking unbeatable. The original Vandy Vape Kylan RTA. Fucking phenomenal tank for its time. In other words, a tank wanker. Exactly, Kevin. I'm a tank wanker. I'm a tank wanker. Fucking battery. Should I just put this battery in here? Or maybe it's a tramadol fucking playing tricks in my mind again. But there we go, folks. That's the current state of vaping with Vic. As this channel heads into its 10th year. Next week is literally going to be make or break week next week. I either manage to keep the studio going, and I will be going to the UK Vaper Expo, or I'll need to shut down the studio, and I won't be going to the UK Vaper Expo, and you'll be seeing the reviews recorded in here at the house. So yeah, I'll find out next week, folks. Oh yeah, that's better. I fucking swear I just put that 2700 in there about an hour ago. Or is my mind playing tricks on me again? Try dripping in the dark. Yeah, that's why I usually squonk, but then I forget to squonk. Yeah, so that's fucking thing here. I can vape. Dry hat because I forget to fucking squonk. That's why I prefer tanks. Because you can look at the tank and say, oh look, this tank is empty. I need to fill it. And the trouble with me is when I'm vaping on a dripper, I treat the dripper like a tank. I just ignore it. And then I get a dry hit and go, and then that's why I don't like using drippers. Just drippers is too much fucking hassle. That's why I like using tanks. Oh, black vine. Nom, nom, nom. Which mouth to lung tank do you recommend? Well, I would say the flashy Vaper VS Dual, but unfortunately this tank is currently retailing for £110. If you can't afford the £110, I would go for the BP Mods Labs mouth to lung RTA. It's a little bit more expensive than any other mainstream mouth to lung tank. You're going to be paying about £10-15 more. So I think the last time I checked, the BP Mods Labs mouth to lung RTA was retailing for about £45 in the UK. But you're going to get a flavour from that tank which is very, very reminiscent of the kind of flavour that you would get from a Kylan, from a K-Fun. You would get flavour representation which is very, very close to the K-Fun style of flavour when it comes to mouth to lung tanks. That's why up at the studio, not here because I've got the VS Dual here, right? But up at the studio, when I'm mouth to lung, and it's the Labs, mouth to lung because it's a fucking phenomenal tank, It's the Blotto single coil one, the Mini or something. It's the single coil Blotto that I've got here. It's an older Blotto now, but still like it. How you doing, factions? Late night squonking. What do you think of the Vaper SOX ROS 3? It's alright, Paul. It's in that category of it works. No complaints. No complaints with the XROS 3. It simply it does what it's supposed to do. What tanks, RT or sub-ohm or both, can you recommend me budget priced? Well, that's the thing, 60 watt guy. I don't know which tanks are still on the market in the bargain bin. You would basically need to check the websites like Vaping 101 or eSig 1 here in the UK and check what they've got on sale. The general rule is this when it comes to RTAs or RDAs. If it's an RTA that's been released over the past 12 months, or it's an RDA that's been released over the past 12 months, you can be guaranteed it's a decent tank. Because if it's been released over the past year, it's using current deck methods, current airflow methods, and in the case of the RDA, current airflow methods. So that's what you need to check. If you're looking at the bargain section of any online store, before you go, oh look, that tank's £5. No, don't buy it. Check when the tank was released, because you might be buying a tank that was released 3.5 years ago or 4 years ago. And if you're buying a tank that was made 4 years ago, it is seriously behind the times when it comes to modern airflow techniques, especially for the RTA side of things. You can kind of get away with it with drippers. You can kind of get away with it with drippers, because you look at dual coil RDAs, they haven't really changed that much over the past 3 or 4 years. Sure, you've got postless decks, you've got older style 2-post velocity decks, but the general rule is most of these dual coil RDAs generally tend to be bottom side or bottom straight airflow. So you can kind of get away with buying a bargain basement RDA that's still in its box, still in its wrapper, that's being sold at a bargain from your local online vape shop. You can't really do that with RTAs though, because there's a big difference, fucking huge difference, between an RTA that was released 4 years ago and an RTA that's been released over the past year, like these two here. You can get these two tanks, right, that's been released over the past year, and put them up against an RTA that was made 4 years ago, and you will notice a difference, because these will win. Better airflow, better deck configuration, better bell cap. It's an overall shorter tank as well. These would win. Straight up, they would win. Cheers, factions! I bought a couple of Blottos the other day, the max version, £12 each. And here's the thing, the Blotto Max, in the grand scheme of things, isn't really an old tank. If you look at when it was first released, and it's already hit £12. That's bargain bin. That's bargain basement prices. And it's not really an old tank, if you think about it. Mr. Sam, congrats on your 9th anniversary, Vic. By the way, the FEV, Flash E-Vaper, FEV, VS Dual, it's currently empty because I ran out of tobacco juice. It's all up in the fucking studio. FEV VS was my first e-cig, 3 days of transition, since 4 years no combustibles. Nice one, Mr. Sam. Is the Arbiter 2 still good? Yes, Andy, it is. It's over a year old, but the Arbiter... No, in fact, is it? When was the Arbiter 2 released? I think it's still within a year. Oh, it's still a good tank. It's a good tank. It's a bit on the big side, but it's still a good tank. Get the Freemax Pro sub-ohm. Do lots of coils for it. You want to build. Yeah. Freemax generally make decent sub-ohm tanks. They're getting privy to chamber reduction. Oh yeah. Chamber reduction's the big thing for tanks these days. Rebuildables much cheaper than stock coils. Very true, Keith. Vic, are you planning on doing anything with Persnickety Scotsman? When my health is better, Martin, I will be starting to do Persnickety Scotsman videos. Can you recommend a reputable CBD juice supplier? No, Max. I can't, because I've actually stopped taking CBD juice. In the UK, we have 2ml rule all tanks, but if you go online, you can buy Roland's. It's because the UK generally ignores the 2ml rule these days. I mean, if Trading Standards, right, if Trading Standards walks into a vape shop for a spot inspection, legally they cannot ignore that vape shop selling a Steam Crave tank, right? They've got to do something about it. But generally speaking, the UK kind of ignores the 2ml rule. That's why you're seeing tanks that are being sold by online shops that are over the 2ml limit. But you can't walk into your local vape shop, generally speaking, and buy a tank over 2mls, because a lot of these vape shops now get spot inspections by Trading Standards. Yeah, Billy, the Arbiter 2 is awesome. It's a fucking good tank. Really, really nice flavour from the Arbiter. In fact, even the original Arbiter, I remember when the original Arbiter came out. That was another phenomenally good tank. Paul B packed in the ciggies 4 years ago. Still use the... Oh, wow, the Smoant Sharon Mini. I remember that one. Online vape shops sell 2mm tanks but come with a free separate bubble glass. Well, depends on the online vape shop, Ben. I know a handful of online vape shops that sell the Ragnar. And the Ragnar from Steamcrave and one of the Steamcrave Titan tanks in its full configuration of 10mm or 20mm capacity. In the box, shipped out straight to you. Because it's an online shop, they're not subject to spot checks by trading standards as much as a brick and mortar shop is. Online shops seem to get away with it a little bit more. Vic, do you think they will ever change the law back so we can have bigger tanks? Probably not, Gaz. The next general election in 2 years' time will probably be a Labour government. That's what it's looking like, because the Conservatives have royally fucked themselves like they usually do if they're in power for too fucking long. So we're probably going to be looking at a Labour government in the next Parliament. And unlike the Conservative Party, which is generally neutral towards vaping, generally speaking, in the grand scheme of things, the Tory Party is generally neutral when they look at vaping. The Labour Party isn't. There is a vast segment of the Labour backbenches that are anti-vaping. Now, it's the front bench that's also the problem. So the current shadow cabinet, the front bench of the opposition party, Labour Party, right now they're kind of 50-50. You look at the shadow health, the current shadow health secretary for Labour. She's anti-vaping. She's anti-vaping. She's said it numerous fucking times. So, yeah. I am worried what will happen to vaping in the UK after the next general election, because, put it this way, I will be extremely surprised if the Conservatives win. I will be extremely surprised if the Conservatives win the next general election, because they've royally shafted themselves. They've royally shafted themselves. Kevin. Little Humza Yusuf. Yeah, the SNP's done. The SNP's dead. It's a dead party walking like a zombie. There's already, I mean, I was looking at, I think it was Alba, Alex Salmon's Independence Party. Apparently Alba's gained something like fucking 3,000, 4,000 members since Humza Yusuf was voted in as the next First Minister and leader of the SNP. Yeah, Humza's going to wreck the SNP. He's another one that's anti-vaping, by the way, Humza Yusuf, because he used to be Scotland's Health Secretary. Anyone remember when he held that position? He used to be Scotland's Health Secretary. He was anti-vaping. He was anti-vaping. He famously said, I think it was something like 4.5 years ago, he famously said on an interview that, and I quote, "Vaping is as bad as smoking." Sorry, Humza, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah, and he's now the First Minister of Scotland. Yep. Humza Yusuf, who's fucked up royally. He was the Education Secretary, he was the Health Secretary, and he was the Transport Secretary. Look at his track record. Just go and check all the positions that Humza Yusuf took under little Nicky Sturgeon. How you doing, Nicky? But go and check, he fucked up in every single position. Transport Secretary, cut the budget. Health Secretary, cut the budget for NHS Scottish Trusts. Education Secretary, famously said when he was Education Secretary that Scotland doesn't need any new schools. Like, fucking serious, dude. Humza fucking Yusuf. Just a pile of useless shit. That's exactly what Humza Yusuf is. And he's now Scotland's First Minister. Yeah. Yeah, you know the old adage of taking a double-barrel shotgun and blowing your feet off? That's exactly what the SNP membership has just done to themselves. I will be very surprised if the SNP has a clear overall majority in the next Scottish general election. They will probably still have a... They will probably still come in with a slim majority in the next Scottish Parliament, but I don't think the way that the SNP's travelling right now, I don't think they will be able to have another clear majority with the Greens that they're currently having. I've got a sneaky suspicion that Scottish Labour is going to end up winning the next Scottish Parliament. So we're going to be looking, in 2 years' time, we're going to be looking at a Labour Parliament in Westminster and a Scottish Labour Parliament up here in Scotland, with more than likely a Labour Parliament in the Welsh Assembly. So it's going to be a Labour whitewash across the UK. And if it does turn into a Labour whitewash across the UK, you can be guaranteed that the government will turn anti-vaping. You can be guaranteed they'll turn anti-vaping. With all the problems that the Conservative Party has brought to the United Kingdom, one of the major reasons that the UK is the shining beacon. What was it Grim Green called the UK again? The shining beacon of vaping liberty, or something he called the UK. But the reason that the UK is the shining beacon of vaping liberty is because of the Tories. It's because of the Conservative Party. Because the Conservative Party 10 years ago took the stance that was very simple. What the Conservative Party did with the question of vaping back in 2014, and this happened about a month and a half after I started vaping, right? No, in fact, it wasn't. It was 10 years ago. It was a year before I started vaping. The Conservative Party famously said, we will... what's that again? I think it might have been Cameron. Or was it before? No, it was. I think it was the coalition government with Cameron and Nick Clegg. The health secretary at the time famously said that they're going to listen to what the evidence of the Royal College of Physicians was going to be when it came to vaping. Unlike a lot of governments in Central Europe that at the time in 2013 in Central Europe were starting to become anti-vaping, the Conservatives 10 years ago decided to sit on the fence. And that's why the UK's become the shining beacon of vaping liberty, because the government didn't get involved. All that is going to end if Labour gets into power. I'll say it now. It's going to end if Labour gets into power. They'll probably go for a miniature flavour ban first. If Labour manage to get in with a stonking big majority, they'll probably go for a miniature flavour ban first. That's what I'm thinking they'll end up doing. Yeah, exactly, Vapor Bunny. Popcorn lung is something you don't need to worry about. Okay, I'm about to end the live anyway, Grizz. Cheers, Grizz. I'll catch you later on. But yeah, I'm going to end it now, folks. But I just thought I'd do a little live show. To let you all catch up. That's what the UK needs is a Guy Fawkes that succeeds. Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. Blah, blah. Now my fucking camera's not working. What the fuck? Am I back? Am I back? Hold on. Live chat. My camera's not back. Why is my camera not back? Hold on, that bring up the fucking... Why is my camera not working? Restore all that. Yeah, my computer froze up. That's odd. It's never done... Well, actually, it's done that before once. But yeah, the computer just fucking froze. Why the fuck's my camera not working? Arse, give me a minute. Like, video capture device, add source. Okay, we'll add a new source. My camera's not working. Now it is, and it's square. Give me a minute. Fuck. Properties, it's gonna be custom resolution 1920 by 1080. Wow, what the hell's happened here? Yeah, the computer just suddenly decided to lock up. It's done that once before during one of the UK vape shows a couple of months ago. I don't know what the fuck caused it. It just went, no, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm just going to freeze. Fuck you. You'll need to do a hard reset, prick. It's like, that was fucking weird. There we go. Although, to be honest, I mean, there's a lot of dust bunnies currently inside this PC. I think during summer, I'm going to have to do a strip down of that computer and give it a good dust out. I mean, it's looking not too bad. That's the computer sitting there. You know that? There we go. But there's a lot of dust bunnies in there. I'm thinking it might need a bit of a clean out. I'm thinking it is. Cheers, Mike. But yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit of an update. So basically, just to wrap this up, because yeah, I'm going to be ending the stream in about 5 minutes. But just to wrap it up, for the people that are in later, the reason that I haven't really been doing that many reviews for the last month and a half is mostly due to health. Because right now I'm actually currently stoned in tramadol. You could probably see it in the eyes. It's the eyes that are the big fucking giveaway. Yeah, currently stoned in tramadol, folks. Health has not been good over the past month and a half, and Mother Dearest isn't keeping all that well either. But on top of that, there's also the monetary issues that's going on. So next week, probably by the end of next week, I will find out if number one, I need to give up the studio, and number two, if I'm not able to make it to the UK Vaper Expo in May. If that iron comes out hot, then it means I will be going to the UK Vaper Expo and I will be able to keep the studio. But it all hinges on what happens at the beginning of next week. That's what it comes down to. It all hinges on that. Yeah, it has been a while since you caught a stream, TDR. It has been a while. But yeah, I thought I'd pop on live. I mean, I don't know if there's gonna be reviews, because there's a lot of fucking good stuff that came in. I mean, there's fucking this. I mean, there's a shitload of reviews out for this, but this thing's a fucking phenomenal bit of kit. Phenomenal bit of kit, the Z200. I've got this thing. I've got Mike Vapes' new tank that needs reviewed. I've got the Steam Crave Meson RTA and the Steam Crave Meson AIO. That needs reviewed. I think there's a new dripper, single coil dripper, that just arrived. That needs reviewed. 30 million pod kits, as always, they need to be reviewed. But there's a lot of stuff up in the studio that I need to plough through in reviews. But the problem is when you're sitting there in the tramadol haze, don't review. Don't review, because yeah, you're going to make a lot of fuck ups. And plus, people are going to be looking at you going, does he look stoned in that video? Yeah, it's because I probably fucking am. So that's why I didn't do any reviews. Connor, I just said it. You just heard it. All hinges on next week, Connor. At least the monetary side of things hinges on what happens next week. The health side of things, that's an entirely fucking separate story. That's an entirely separate story. The doctor did say that the last resort of the kind of conditions that I have is an operation, and it's going to be a major operation down in the stomach area. But he doesn't want that to happen because that's a last resort for the kind of condition that I've got. There is medication and treatments that he could try out first that will hopefully alleviate a lot of the fucking problems, but the last resort's a full out operation. And that kind of operation's a very, very invasive one. It's a very invasive one. Won't be getting any more smock pods. Is it it's Crohn's disease. Bosnus. That's basically what I've been finally diagnosed with. Crohn's disease. At Wired Talk with Big G. Heard you're on a proper live show. Yeah, he is actually. Yeah. Big G's on a live show. I don't catch it as regularly as I used. Again, fucking health problems. Usually at Friday at 10 o'clock, I'm usually lying in bed stoned. So it's like, no fucking fit state to watch a live show on Friday evenings. No, I'm not. I'm really not. Oh, the Gotek's a good bit of kit, TDR. I was using the Go. In fact, have I reviewed that yet? No, I haven't. That's another bit of kit I still need to fucking review. Yeah, the Gotek. I was testing it out. Testing the Gotek out, and there's fucking good flavour. Good flavour from that little bit of kit. Mind you, it's an Aspire kit. If there's one thing Aspire are good at is making stock coils. They've always been good at stock coils. Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up there, folks. Will there be a UK vape show this Thursday? I'm going to say it now. It depends how I'm feeling. Simple as that. It really depends how I'm feeling. Whether there's going to be a UK vape show on this Thursday. I am hoping, fucking touch big wooden table and cross the fingers, I'm hoping there's going to be some semblance of reviews going up this weekend. But if I'm getting doped up and tramadol, don't get your fucking hopes up. No, don't get your hopes up. But it depends. It depends how I'm feeling right now, folks. It's been one of the roughest months. Yeah, it has been actually one of the roughest months health-wise for me for a good 10 years. A good 10 years. And I mean, okay. There's new medication that I was stuck onto last week that does seem to be helping a little bit, but the doctor wants to get me off of tramadol as quick as possible, because the problem is the longer you're on tramadol, two things start to happen. Number one, your body starts to get used to it, so you need to start taking more tramadol, and as you take more tramadol, you start to get stoned more, and then you become addicted to it because it's an opiate. It's an opiate. So the doctor wants me off the tramadol as quick as possible, and that's why he's put me on various medications, at least to alleviate the major symptoms of what I've got. Oh yeah, it's very fucking addictive, bunny. I was hooked on this stuff about 10 years ago. Was it about 10? It was just before I started reviewing. I was on tramadol for about 4 months, like a continuous 4-month stretch, and getting off of it, oh, it was hard. It was fucking hard getting off of tramadol, especially if you're on it for a long stretch. It's hard getting off it. Look into low dose I've not even heard of that. Naltrexone. Not even heard of that one. Trying it for psoriatic arthritis, not addictive, and just a few side effects. Oh, right. Yeah. Cheers, Big G. Yeah, Mother Dearest, she's on her way to better health. She's taking things easy right now, obviously, but she's on the road to better health. She's in a better state than I am in. That's another thing about tramadol. You start tripping over your own fucking words, which is why I don't do reviews when I'm doped up in fucking tramadol. But yeah, she's in a better fucking state than I'm in right now. Far better fucking state than I'm in. I spend most of my day, number one, wondering what fucking day it is, and number two, seeing pink elephants. Because pink elephants are fun. I mean, the good thing about tramadol is it's one of the better painkillers, but the bad thing about it, what it does to your mind. What it does to your mind. It's like that haze. Just a haze that just seems to surround you. I don't like that. I don't like that feeling. Don't like that feeling. What's happening Saturday? I got a message, Mr. Hanky Panky, from him with the flat cap and glasses, not Gaz. What the fuck's his name now? Fuck tramadol. I used to be good at remembering names. Blumpkin. There, that's him. I got a message from him about Saturday that I might not be on. I'll need to go and read the message again and see what he said. Aye up, Vic. I'm back. Had to step. Well, I'm just about to end. I'm just about to end the cash wreck. Damn, Vic, dish the drugs this. CC. Yeah, Hinch. Yeah, Hinch. Yeah, I got a message from him saying I might not be on. I have both tramadol. See, I haven't tried naproxen. It's only been tramadol I've been on. But then again, naproxen does have that stuck thing. Yeah, maybe that's why he didn't put me on naproxen, because it doesn't react well with some people's stomachs. And since I've got problems with the guts, maybe that's why he didn't put me on it. Just tramadol. I've never been on naproxen. Never been on it. It's always been tramadol for me. Ew. Cold tea. Ew. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not good if you get stomach. That's probably why I've not been on it. What's the new tank from Mike Vapes, Vic? I can't remember now, but I know that Mike Vapes put a video up about it on the 17th last week. He put a video up about it last week. It's a continuation of one of his older lines of tanks. And I know that Thunder, because he teamed up with Thunderhead Creations, and I know that Thunderhead sent one out. It's actually sitting up at the studio right now. There's a fucking, it's a pile. It's literally a pile of stuff up at the studio that I need to go through for Blaze Solo. There we go. It's a pile of stuff that I need to, there's a lot of reviews I need to do. A lot of reviews. Mike's new tank, that new kit from Geek Vape, the two Mesons from Steam Crave, about 30 billion pods that have come in over the past month and a half. There's a lot of stuff I need to review. There's a lot of stuff. Pardon me. There is a tablet to take before what? What? There is a tablet to take before what you do take. I had some in 2019. You've lost me, Shrek. Is it a tablet you take before naproxen? Because I've never taken naproxen. Because again, stomach issues. I've never taken naproxen. Yeah, well, I've tried the Meson. I haven't tried the Meson AIO, but the Meson tank, I did manage to get a good number of days out of it testing, and then the fucking health problems hit. I was rather impressed with the Meson RTA. Rather impressed with it. Rather impressed. I haven't tried the AIO yet, but I've tried the tank. Very impressed with what that tank was doing. But then again, it's a Steam Crave tank. It's bound to be a good tank. It's bound to be a good tank. Steam Crave as a company have only misstepped once, and that was the aroma. You got a lot. The train of thought just left the fucking station and then derailed itself in the course of a split fucking second. What the fuck was I talking about again? What? The aromomizer. That's what I was talking about. Wow. So they've only really misstepped once, and it was the aromomizer 2. The aromomizer 2 was weird. That was the only way I can do, because the original aromomizer was and this is going back to 2015, right? The original Steam Crave aromomizer, which I've still got in that cupboard over there, was a phenomenal tank for its time. The second aromomizer, I don't know what they were thinking. It was the same kind of idea as the aromomizer 1, but they went on a completely offshoot direction with it, and then the aromomizer 3 came out and they went back on track again. They've only really launched one misstep, and that's not bad going for a company that's been on the go since 2015. You look at the tanks that they've released, the aromomizer 1, 2, well, forget the 2, the aromomizer 1, aromomizer 2, the aromomizer Supremes, the Ragnars, the Titans, every single tank apart from the aromomizer 2, every single tank Steam Crave have come out with, they've been good. There's no getting it. They've been damn good, solid performing tanks, and the Meson's no exception. It's a damn good, solid performing tank. Was the Meson AIO the first batch? No, it wasn't, CC. I got a late package. It was the second batch that they sent me because they were late sending one out. So I got the second batch, and they did mention that the first batch had some issues, and they said in the email that not all, they said most of the issues. So I don't know what issue it is that's still plaguing the second batch, but they said most of the issues has been sorted with the second batch. But again, I haven't tried the Meson AIO. I have tried the Meson RTA. So when I get back, once the health problems settle down, there's going to be a lot of testing up in that studio for the first couple of weeks. I mean, I've got Mike's tank I need to check out. The Meson RT's already been tested. I can put that review out anytime I want. The Meson AIO needs tested. I've got that Geek Vape thing sitting there. That needs tested. That's 4 straight away. Add in about 100 fucking pods on top of that. It's going to be a busy first couple of weeks when I get back to the studio. But the Meson RTA, that can go out immediately because I was using that for a good 4 days up at the studio before I fell ill. Good 4 days. Yeah, Storm, I'm about to stop the stream. Actually, Storm's been on the go for a good couple of hours now. Will there be a Vic second batch after your health? Vic second batch? After your health fixtures etc lol. You've lost me, Hanky. Which wouldn't be hard because I'm currently stoned in tramadol. Ben, I was seriously thinking about that, but I don't like doing out of the box reviews. But here's the thing. You look at a pod kit, right? You look at a pod kit. If a pod kit is going to have a problem, that problem is going to become very apparent in the first 5 minutes of using it. It's the truth though. Dodgy coil. You recognise that problem in the first 5 minutes of using it. Dodgy leaking pod. You'll get that in the first 5 minutes of using it. Dodgy battery. You'll get that in the first 5 minutes of using it. I was seriously considering, Ben, when it comes to the pod reviews, of doing it the way Jay Hayes does it, out of the box review, then and there. No testing, just take it out of the box and use it then and there. But I don't like doing that. I don't like doing out of the box reviews. That's the fucking problem. I have got a severe, what's the word I'm looking for? Thing. I've just got a thing about not doing out of the box reviews. But if I was going to do an out of the box review, it would be with a pod kit. Because if something goes wrong with a pod kit, it always happens in the first 5 minutes of using it. Always happens in the aversion. So you can tell Bunny's not stoned in tramadol, because that's the word I was looking for. I've got an aversion to out of the box reviews. I mean, when it comes to like this, something like this, I am going to test this out. It might only be for 2 or 3 days if it's a fast track, but I'm going to test this out for at least 2 or 3 days before I put my face on a camera. So when it comes to like dual battery or single battery kits, stock coil sub-ohm tank kits, RTAs, RDAs, AIOs, something that takes a stock coil, I'm going to test that out for at least 2 or 3 days. If it's a fast track item, if they want the review done within a week, it'll be tested for at least 2 or 3 days. But for pod kits, I am seriously thinking about doing out of the box reviews, because there's a fucking load of them that need to be reviewed. I think it's something like 24, 25 pod kits that come in over the past couple of months. It's just a fucking pile of the bastards up in the fucking studio. I am seriously considering switching to out of the box. Just for pod kits and disposables, right? But for everything else, they need to be tested first. My mate is sending his back, has had nothing but issues with his Meson from E-Sig1 that turned up today. Right, that's the first batch Meson. Yep, that's the first batch. Yeah, exactly, Ben. Just mention, hey, this is a pod review and this is an out-of-the-box review. Because again, if something goes wrong with a pod, it will happen in the first 5 minutes. First 5 minutes. With a tank, whether it be a stock coil sub-ohm tank, whether it be a rebuildable tank, or whether it be a dripper, or whether it be a dual battery box mod, an internal LiPo mod, or a single battery mod, if there's problems, they don't tend to pop up in the first 5 minutes of use, especially for dual battery box mods like this. You've got to use that for at least 24, no, not even 24, 48 hours, 2 days. You've got to use that for 2 days. Like another general thing, which you don't see me mention in a review, I actually try charging batteries up in the mod. Now again, some mods don't allow you to do it, but if a mod allows you to charge up the batteries in the mod, that's the second day of testing. I get a couple of batteries that are basically almost flat in the studio, pop them inside the mod, plug the mod into a USB cable thing, and shove the cable into the PC. And I check to see if that mod can actually charge up those batteries in the mod. It's something that I do, because when it comes to stuff like this, you've got to test all the major features out. You've got to test them. That's why I'm not happy doing out of the box reviews for stuff like this. Pod kits, I might switch to it. I probably fucking need to switch to it, considering the amount of fucking pods I need to review, but I might end up switching to out of the box for pod and disposable reviews. But for stuff like this, I need to test it first. I need to test it. Everyone says the Caliburn is great. Everyone I had leaks like a sieve. That's weird, Ben. Because I've got... Is it the Caliburn? In fact, I have one here. No, I don't, because it's up in the studio. I think it's the Caliburn A2 that I'm using now. Just when I'm out and about, when I'm going down to the post office to send some stuff out, because they can't be fucked coming up to collect it, I usually pick up a Caliburn A2. I've never had a leaking problem with the A2. In fact, I've never had a leaking problem with a Caliburn in general, and the one time I did have a leaking problem was when I was going to Poland On a plane, I had the Caliburn sitting in my inside jacket pocket, and because of the pressure inside the plane cabin, the fucker leaked everywhere. That was my fault, though. That was my fault. I should have stored the pod upside down so the air escaped instead of the liquid. That was my fault. But I've never had one leak in the studio. It's never happened to me. Lordy, you're stacking right fucking there, Hephaestus. Actually, I've been saying this for the past 20 minutes. I'm stopping it now, folks, because we're at fucking 11:15, right? So, just to recap, health is fucked. I'm currently stoned on tramadol. Is there going to be a UK Vape Show this Thursday? It depends how I'm feeling. Going into next week, once I've had a couple of meetings, I will be able to categorically say whether Vaping with Vic is going to be able to keep the studio or not, and whether I'll be going to the UK Vaper Expo in May or not. If things do turn out to be spiffingly good, after next week, you're probably going to start seeing baked-in adverts and 2 reviews a week on this channel. It's going to happen, folks. It's the only way I can fucking make money on this channel, because I'm sure as fuck not making it from fast tracks these days, because all the companies don't want to do fast tracks now. They want their review done within a week, but they're not going to fucking pay for it anymore. Instead, what they're going to do is give £1,000 to an Instagram model to do... Do you know some Instagram vaping influencers, the big ones, or even Instagram influencers in general, they don't even need to be fucking vapors. They just take a picture of the product. Some of them charge £1,000 per picture. Do you know that? £1,000 per picture. Not per set. One picture. £1,000. And certain vape companies, who shall remain fucking nameless, although I'm fucking tempted to name them, but some vape companies would rather spend £1,000 on one picture than spend £100 on a fast track for a review on my channel. Yeah, that's the state that's the state that the vaping industry is currently in. Yeah, it's fucking scary. You'll need a booster breath. Like, nah, look more like fucking Les Dawson. Oh, they know about it, Shrek. All the major Instagram influencers, they're tax registered. They are tax. The e-cig ones I'm not sure about, but all the big name Instagram influencers, they're tax registered. They're definitely tax registered. So yeah, I will find out next week if I'm able to keep going. It will basically mean that Vaping with Vic will have embedded, baked-in ads, but they will be e-cig relevant. I'm not going to start saying, but before we go on to the table cam, a word from our sponsors, Raid Shadow Legend. No. I'm going to make sure that if there's baked-in ads on an e-cig review, the baked-in ad is going to have something to do with the e-cig market, whether it be the e-liquid market, whether it be the hardware market. It will be a manufacturer for the electronic cigarette industry. I'm not going to start doing fucking adverts for fucking Tunnel Bear or Raid Shadow Legends or shit like that. It's going to be e-cig adverts, baked in, but done in such a way that it doesn't fall foul of YouTube rules or TRPR laws, which is another thing you need to fucking look out for. Anyway, no, Dyer, no. That's gonna be the new fucking... That's a scary thought, CC. That's a fucking scary thought. So yeah, I'll find out by the end of next week, folks. That there's been offers of folks wanting to donate, just for me to get to the UK Vaper Expo. But the way I see it's a simple one. I would not be in a good frame of mind if I went to the UK Vaper Expo in May, knowing that the company Vaping with Vic is basically bankrupt. I would need to go to the UK Vaper Expo in the mindset that when I returned from the UK Vaper Expo, I'm returning to a reviewing company that's not going bankrupt. So it's all in. It's all in or nothing for me. That's what it comes down to next week. If I'm not able to, if the companies, and there's two that I'm working with right now, if the companies don't want to end up going down the road of baked in ads, and I need to basically fold up the studio, sell everything off and start doing the bulk of the review, not the bulk, all of the reviews here, I'll not be going to the UK Vaper Expo because I'm not going to be in a happy frame of mind to enjoy myself in May, knowing that all I've worked for since 2018 has fallen apart due to my short-sightedness over the past 2 years. So it's all or nothing. That's what it comes down to. It's all or fucking nothing. I've got a couple of irons in the fire, and I'm waiting to see if at least one of those irons come out hot. That's what it comes down to. Anyway, hopefully, fuck up. Don't talk and vape when you're vaping on 6mg freebase and you're direct lunging it. Yeah, I've got a Black Vine at 6mg freebase. Oh, that was a bit stingy. Yeah. What was I talking about again? I can't remember now. Yay, Tramadol. What the fuck was I talking about? Right, UK Vape Show. I honestly don't know if there's going to be a UK Vape Show this Thursday. Right, it depends how I'm fucking feeling. If I'm on that bed stoned out my head, there's going to be no UK Vape Show on Thursday. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. I give Vic a tap if he starts wearing a bikini and poses with a 10. No, CC. No. That's just scary. That image right there, CC. That's just scary. No. No, it's not empty. There you go, Kevin. That's 6mg. 6mg freebase. Don't exhale and talk at the same time when you've got more than 3mg. I wouldn't say more than 3. More than 4mg freebase nick in there, because it stings the vocal cords. Because the vapor is interacting with the vibrating vocal cords, and the nicotine hits it and it starts getting stingy. Because I've got 6mg freebase in there and I'm direct to lunging it. 3mg freebase in the peach custard though. Is there a UK Vape Show this Thursday? I never heard you, LOL. Depends how I'm feeling, Mr. Hanky Panky. That's what it comes down to. If I'm out my face on Tramadol, no. Just no. Because I'm not going to sit here for 2 hours going, wee! Because Aiden will just sit there and laugh for 2 hours at me. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Look! Vic's stoned. Wee! Because the reason that I'll just come out and say it. The reason that I'm able to talk right now is because I've only taken half a Tramadol dose of what I usually take. Just half of what I usually take. That way I've got some brain cells actually awake to be able to talk into a camera for a couple of hours. But normally I'm on that bed out my fucking face. Just, out my face. Just out my fucking face. Yep. Didn't you just... I can't even read that, Hephaestus. I've got too many brain cells sleeping. What? What? Anyway, I'm gonna end the cast now, because if I don't end the cast, I'm gonna be sitting here babbling until 12 midnight, and then I'll be forced to take another tramadol and then go out my face even more when I'm actually live broadcasting. So yeah, I don't want to do that. Anyway, that's it from me, folks. I will keep everyone up to date on Patreon, Subscribestar, and YouTube, along with people in the Facebook group, as to what is going to happen with the channel after I have that meeting next week. It's only going to take one of the two companies to say yes. That's all it's going to take. Just one of the two companies to say yes to baked in ads, and basically Vaping with Vic can keep trading into the 10th year. And while that company has got baked in ads for maybe 2 or 3 months, it gives me the breathing room to seek out other companies who are not front door sellers, to seek out other companies in the vaping industry and try and entice them into doing maybe 1 baked in ad a week or 2 baked in ads a month to keep that ball rolling. I am not going to be in the same position that I was in two years ago, by basically saying, nope, I am not going to make more money because critics out there don't want me making money and don't want to see e-cig reviewers making money. But then you look at the tech reviewers like Linus Tech Tips with that literally a multi-million dollar Canadian dollars, which is about $2 US, but a multi-million dollar company, and he's basically doing reviews. In the tech industry, he's doing computer stuff, right? But he's basically doing reviews. But when it comes to e-cig reviewers, oh no, e-cig reviewers can't make money. Oh no, you know what? Fuck you. So yeah, I've switched that mindset off of holding back. Now I'm going to make as much money as I possibly fucking can, just to keep things ticking over. Ben Davis, it would surprise you how many people says it, Ben. Just go to Reddit. Just go to the e-cigarette thread on Reddit and look at what they say about YouTube e-cig reviewers. Oh yeah. YouTube e-cig reviewers shouldn't make money from reviewing. YouTube e-cig reviewers should only do reviewing as a hobby. And then somebody pops in with a question, well, what about tech reviewers? Oh, that's different. They're reviewing computers. Hold on a minute. How the fuck is that different? Okay, number one, tech reviewers also get sent the PC tech for free. Just like e-cig reviewers, for the most part, get sent the e-cig equipment for free. So you're saying that tech reviewers can make money, but e-cig reviewers can't. What? I'd get more into it, but my brain would end up exploding or catching fire because I'm too fucking stoned. Anyway. It's a fucking cesspit. See, people always ask me, Vic, why aren't you on the e-cig Reddit? Number one, Reddit is too fucking confusing. So, you go to Reddit's e-cigarette page, and it's like, oh, I want to look at this conversation. So you click on it, and this fucking thing opens up like that, with arrows pointing down, arrows pointing up, threads within threads within threads. And I'm like, seriously? Seriously? Who the fuck designed this layout for a start? Because it looks as if it's fucking 10 years old. And like old people like me look at Reddit threads and go, I can't fucking follow this. It's fucking all over the place. Threads within threads within threads. No, give me a PHP forum. They're far fucking easier to use and far easier to maintain as well. That's why I can't be fucked with Reddit. Reddit's too fucking confusing. Too fucking confusing. Welcome to Reddit. It looks as if it was made in the late 90s. That's why I'm not on Reddit. There we go. Scuba, you're late. I'm just about to stop the broadcast. Although apparently the e-cigarette Reddit forum subreddit, whatever the fuck it's called, is very, very fucking busy. It's very busy. I've got no way of fucking telling because I never visit it, but from what I've been told, it's very fucking busy. Very busy. No, CC, no. Anyway, I'm gonna end it here because I need to take another tramadol because the pain's starting to kick in again, and I'm not going to take another tramadol while broadcasting because I'm just going to get more fucking stoned. I'm going to start giggling and then fall asleep while broadcasting, and you don't want that. Well, I don't want that to fucking happen. Anyway, that is it for me, folks. As always, thanks for watching. Hank, shut up. I must have repeated that about half a dozen fucking times already because I keep forgetting what I fucking talked about 10 minutes ago. Again, tramadol. Whee! Anyway, that's it for me, folks. I will keep people updated as much as I can over the course of the next week, whether Vaping with Vic keeps going or Vaping with Vic declares bankruptcy at the end of next week. Yay me! Anyway. Have a good one. I'm going to take another tramadol and get stoned. Yay!